Hey everyone, Psychedelic here. Welcome back to another video. Just going to be sharing 4 albums that I've picked up since last time I've been here. Nothing too amazing this time around, just sort of run-of-the-mill stuff, except for one album perhaps. This is stuff I found last week well, I guess this week partially. I found this last Saturday, this one album, and these other 3 albums I headed back to Lincoln and just decided to thrift shop a little bit and came up with these. So like I said, nothing too exciting, but I do have a exciting news at the very end of this video about another Grail. So before I get to that though, let's dive into these. So I picked this one up. This is Atom or Atom. I want to say Atom. This is by Tangerine Dream. This is an original German copy on Ore. Just traded some stuff in for this one, so and the child on the front cover is Edgar Freeze's child, who was like 2 years old at the time. So over the years, I've been just kind of slowly grasping onto a lot of Tangerine Dreams material, so I finally picked this one up. This was kind of one of the early ones I've been missing. Still missing their second album too. I have Electronic Meditation, Zeit, and this one now. And I also have Phaedra, which is, one of their more acclaimed albums. Just need a couple more and then I think I'm finished with their discography. Their 80s stuff didn't really catch on too much, even though it is good. I'm just more interested in their early experimental ambient sort of phases. Kind of interest me the most, so yeah, I picked this one up. This one's almost like a perfect transitioning album between their previous album into Phaedra. It's like a perfect, you can tell they're kind of transitioning their sound a little bit more into that kind of progressive, more kind of structured writing than just freeform ambient kind of material. Even though it does linger a lot in this album, you can tell, especially on side 2 where they have some like vocal experimentation going on. It's kind of freaky at first when you first hear it, but very, very interesting stuff. So I'd say my favorite is like the second half of the title track on side 1. Very dark, and it's just like very nice background sounds, and it gets kind of dark in some spots. So yeah, really cool. And then it's also known for John Peel, the DJ at the time. He claims this album to be album of the year for 1973. Not even Dark Side of the Moon or Tubular Bells. So it's kind of interesting note. And then these 3 albums, I did pick up a few more albums, but they weren't even worth sharing on here. So this pile in Goodwill, I just decided to head over to Goodwill and found a lot of artists that I didn't recognize, and so that's kind of why I picked some of this up. But then I found they were just a lot of very cheap albums that didn't sell well in the past, and they're kind of more in the just very generic singer-songwriter pop rock kind of material. So I just never heard of them or seen them before, but they're not even worth mentioning. But these are the most interesting albums I found. I feel like I've seen this somewhere before, maybe a record show, but the cover just stood out to me right away. This is Somerset, their album This Time Around. This came out in 1977. This is on the Mannheim Steamroller label, the American Gramophone. So with that info, they're based out of Omaha, and this has kind of got like it's not too impressive, but I'm glad I found it at the same time. This is probably something I'll kind of part with down the road, but it's got kind of a very Midwestern pop rock style going for it. Sort of laced in a slightly rural country kind of vibe, but it's also got kind of a touch of lounge, kind of club pop music going on as well. Particularly the last track, Written in the Sand. It's a track I uploaded onto my other channel, and that's probably the highlight for me off this one. It's very dreamy, kind of lounge, spacey sounds. Really good synthesizer. It's primarily piano led, but I would say the synthesizer tracks are worth checking out on here. So nothing too great, but it stands out to me. So it comes with a lyric insert as well. And then this album is actually one I've been kind of looking for, and I could have bought it online anytime because this is a pretty cheap album. I would say probably don't have to pay any more than $10 if you ever see this. This is The Last Words. I just never see it out in the wild, but finally found it. It's about a VG copy, little beat cover, but so this is a one album project on Atco. This band had a hit back in the day, Can't Stop Loving You, on side 2. Probably one of the weaker tracks in my opinion. Definitely a song that could have, it's the song that marketed them an LP and got the attention of Atco executives. And that's kind of what they're doing, is cashing in on that hit. This album for me is kind of like a blend of some of the material works, a lot of it's really trying to work, and some really falls flat. It's not really, it's kind of one of those bands, kind of like 1910 Fruit Gum Company, Ohio Express, but they're not really bubblegummy, but it's one of those pop bands that's trying to like latch on to that kind of garage rock aesthetic. Bands like the Standells, perhaps, where they have like a lot of pop moves, but they also feature, some fuzz guitar, some nice hooks. Some of the tracks work, and it's primarily all covers, which is never always the best thing, but a lot of bands did that. But my favorite tracks off here would be, their more original tracks, One More Time. My favorite's A Basket of Flowers. It mixes both kind of that garage side, but then it also has like this kind of Baroque pop chorus line going for it. It's a really odd mix of styles in one track, And then another track worth mentioning, You've Lost That Lovin' Feeling, is starts out really dull, but then it has like a fuzz breakout out of nowhere. So there are some nice fuzz guitar sprinkled throughout, but a lot of these tracks just kind of fall flat though. The way they're written and how they're kind of trying to come off as like a Vanilla Fudge type. Since they were pretty big at the time and shared the same label, they were probably a big influence for them, so I can understand that. But yeah, it doesn't really work for me. It's only half good, I would say, but still worth checking out. And then this one is about the only other one worth mentioning. So I found a lot of weird Christian-related records, including this one, Lance Appleton. This is a long title too. It's I'm a One God, Apostolic, Tongue-Talking, Holy Rollin', Born Again, Heaven-Bound Believer in the Liberating Power of Jesus' Name. I mean, the title goes all the way to the back. So I checked this one out too, because with a cover like that, a blues harmonica player, and then just looking at some of the, different people playing steel guitar and different instruments. And this must have been apparently a big hit for this guy in Missouri. As a local guy, he released a few albums, and I just added this one to Discogs because it wasn't on there, but there is maybe one track worth mentioning, and this is the track I uploaded onto my Cosmic Minds channel. It's the closing track, All That I Can Do Is Thank Him. Opens up with like this Mellotron and this wah-wah guitar, and it's got kind of a nice groove to it and all. Just really, really different compared to what most of this is all about. It's primarily, kind of country blues. A lot of stuff I'm not really interested in, but that last track is worth mentioning, and had to upload it on here. So yeah, that's all I got for today. So then the exciting news that I wanted to break out to you guys is that, thank goodness for all the sales on Instagram and Discogs lately. I've actually been kind of purging things too, so that I can, build up my PayPal account, and it's really been paying off well. So there's this item I've been watching on Discogs lately, and it's pretty well below the prices it sold for in the past. And this is an album I'm currently in the process of getting. They just haven't gotten back to me yet. But this is an album that over the years, probably back in the 80s and 90s, this was an album that would go for $1,000. And to this day, has sold for like $2,000. And they only pressed 500 copies of this Private Psych album. And so far I've created an order for it, and things are looking pretty good. And so out of pocket, I'm probably only paying like $150. And so, at least right now as we speak, but that could all change. So very, very excited to be showing this if I do lay my hands on this one. This is on the same level as like CA Quintet, Music Emporium, Rain Ghost, bands like that. And this is going to be a very nice original addition to the collection, I would say. So I'm going to be going very in depth on this one once I receive it. So anyways, that's all I got. So take care, and let me know what you think of these, and we shall see you soon.